Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to yet another talking video on demand, believe it or not. And the reason for making this on demand talking video is that I've just received an email from one of my subscribers that was actually thanking to me that thanks to my videos he did start his freelancing career on Upwork, and now he needs some advices regarding how to start getting new clients from YouTube videos in the way kind of similar to how I am doing this in particular. And I'm a bit confused by this sort of the request, and let me try to explain you why exactly I am confused. Well, because it's all about it's all personal, and what works for one person might turn out as a complete disaster for some of the other guys. So, but nevertheless, before I will try to actually talk something on this particular demand, let me first try to read you some parts of this email that I'm really proud of. So he says, like, I think you might I think they might consider me as the first one. Well, it's not perfect English, but just let's forgive him this. So I think you might consider me as the first one person who landed. I would say the very first person is instead of first one person who landed a job within the help. Who landed a job with the help of your channel. Yeah, Andre. His name is Andre. Thank you so much for these kind, warm words, heartwarming words. I really appreciate that. So, so I was working on Upwork for 16 hours, $6 per hour hourly rate, which is nice for a beginner. Absolutely. I was doing tutoring, and this is really interesting. Like, so this ICN, I'm not sure, is this the client name or what is this? Probably it's just a client, but just he missed these two letters. So probably the client sent me his own web scraper. The client is Python beginner. I was worrying of implementing a scraper according to best practices. I was following best practices invented by you, so by CodeMonkey came by me. And I just want to say that I already did answer to this email, that I just want to mention that I'm not really using best practices during web scraping. Instead, I'm using only those practices that fit my particular needs. So considering my web scraping practices to be the best practices, it's kind of wrong, because they're not the best practices. And the matter of being best, it regards to the particular niche you're working within. It depends on the client you're working for, on the format you're working within, and things like that. So I didn't invent the best practices, believe it or not, so just to bear in mind. So I created a class that has results, attribute, and appropriate methods like fetch, parse, store to CSV. Oh, so probably here, I guess here he refers my one-time scraper class that I was kind of promoting on this channel earlier. Basically, so yeah, that was the time. Basically, yeah, that did regard to beautiful soup and requests library. Yeah, I did make that sort of a class. I remember. I'm waiting for the time to be approved, but I think that it should not be a problem here. Well, I hope it shouldn't be a problem as well. Even so that I have some success. I would say even though that I have some success. I'm sorry for this. Actually, kind of, Andre, if you're watching this, I'm really sorry for pointing out your English mistakes. But like, if you really want to work with the European American or whatever English speaking clients, it's really important to teach yourself to kind of try to avoid this like grammar mistakes, and like, I guess if you would be talking in Unreal, it would be something similar. I'm not perfect example of how to speak English perfectly, obviously, and I always try to learn from the native speakers. So the best way of improving your English is actually trying to trying to watch as much English content as possible, especially that one that regards to like some sort of a programming tutorials, but not my programming tutorials, but like Trevor's Media or someone who is a native English speaker. because it really helps you to build your own phrases, to improve your grammar and learn the best practices of how to talk in English. I'm really sorry for pointing this out, but if you really want to start doing YouTube in regards to web scraping or whatever professional niche, it's really important to not doing dislike mistakes, because clients kind of don't really like that, especially native speakers. So I would say, even though that I have some success on Upwork doesn't provide me sufficient amount of work for me. But on the other hand, Andrea, I would like to say that I really like the phrases that you're using, and I really like how you build sentences, and it's really like it's really nice. But it just feels like they have a lack of experience in cooperating with the real world native speakers. So just try to talk to them via Skype, write them emails, things like that, and you would definitely succeed, I promise you. So I'd like to use YouTube as a source to gain new clients, okay? So I would appreciate your thoughts on my idea about using YouTube as a source of gaining new clients. I think the potential business clients are searching for the things like how to scrape Zillow, how to scrape Craigslist, how to scrape Indeed, etc. So it's clear that videos having similar titles plays the same role as the Google ADS. Well, this makes sense perfectly. So they appear in Google search. They do appear there, right? And then he just referring what I was talking here, what I told him in previous and things like that. So guys, on the one hand, it's really flattering to hear that you're trying to mimic what I'm doing here, and this is the true code against principles, like monkey see, monkey do. This is really flattering, I guess. But this blind copying of what you see out there might not always be the case, because it's all about the consciousness. And for those of you who didn't yet watch my video regarding the difference between the Eastern and the Western consciousness, that is now is a trailer on the Code Monkey Kings channel, I encourage you guys to watch that video, because it really explains the difference between the Eastern and the Western consciousness, and in particular why exactly I'm doing what am I doing, and why exactly I'm doing this the way I'm doing, and things like that. So I have a huge circumstances behind this way of doing things, behind this programming principles, behind this life principles, understanding life path, career path, and things like that. So it's not just the matter of you just do this like this or like that. It's the matter of entire life philosophy, basically, that I'm building for more than 15 years at the moment, and I'm doing that while practicing traditional Chinese practices like Qigong. And you can't just pick up this from scratch by just trying to mimic what I'm doing here, because it would be just empty in terms of inner presence of like the ideas, the energy behind what you're doing, and things like that. So it would be just the empty form without being filled by the inner sense like that. So just blind copying of what you see is really similar to the blind copy pasting of the code that you've encountered somewhere on Stack Overflow or on GitHub or things like that. So you need at least you need to understand like what's going on under the hood within the particular code snippet or source file or whatever code source you're looking for. And absolutely the same thing are applicable to the format of making videos and creating this opportunities of getting new clients on YouTube. But as far as I did already promise Andre, who's the author of this particular email, I already did promise Andre to kind of trying to share my thoughts. And I exactly said, like, I will try to share my thoughts. I didn't kind of promise to give him a silver bullet regarding like that would help him in every single case in his entire lifetime. So maybe just some sort of a tips or a hints. So like it's really nice and it's really flattering that some of you guys trying to do exactly the way like I do. So in particular, you're kind of trying to start your own YouTube channels and try to get clients from YouTube like I do, and this is really nice. But like I just want to tell you one kind of most important thing about YouTube, that in my particular case I wasn't it wasn't intended initially. It wasn't intended for me to use YouTube as a source of getting as the source of getting new clients, but instead I was starting YouTube as the way to share my knowledge and try to help people, basically. Still, at this moment, this is the prior goal of why am I still keep doing this. And like, even though I do get some job offers from this channel, and I swear I don't use Upwork anymore because it's literally enough to have this YouTube channel, and those emails that are coming me from the viewers of my videos is literally enough to serve as a source of job offers or opportunities to get hired and do some job for those guys who found me thanks to my videos. But still, like, it's really not the prior goal like that, because like if I would have focused on trying to get new clients, probably YouTube is not the very best idea, because like it's not the matter of you want to get some result and you're just trying to pick up some techniques and then you're doing these techniques and you're getting this result. It's not about that, absolutely. So it just happens, like I'm not intending these clients. I'm not thinking about this. Like, yes, I do use this what he claims here, like business sensitive words within the titles, but like I do not control that. I can't control that process of getting new clients. So I'm trying to focus on helping people, because I consider that to be the very main practice in my life, because otherwise all the rest doesn't really make sense. And like, it's not the way to get rich. It's the way I do is intended to become a free person, fully free, like so like you can't be you can't be focused at making money, doing everything to make money, and at the same time being focused to the freedom, actually. So it's always a trade-off, and you really need to choose basically between like the idea of making money and the idea of getting free. And for me personally, getting free is really like the very main idea. So if I'm about to choose between the freedom and making more money, I would definitely choose freedom, even if I would stay without a job at all. So like also when my working day starts and I open my email and I see like some emails from my clients, and also I see some emails from my subscribers asking me to help them, the very first thing I consider is actually to help my subscribers, because work won't go anywhere. Like there is always time to make it work, and you just do the work, you're just getting paid. That's not going anywhere. While the clients, while the viewers and the subscribers who are asking for help, it's kind of number one priority for me. So first I'm trying to help them, and when I don't have any emails in my Google Mail, then I start working on the projects for my clients. So that's just very kind of important idea to bear in mind, because that's exactly the way how it works in my particular life. And I strongly believe that exactly helping people makes this job happen, because I believe that if I stop helping people, this job offer flow would stop as well. And you might argue that I'm crazy or things like that, but I strongly believe this, and I'm not gonna step out of this belief basically. So by saying this, I just wanna help you guys to realize that, again, like, YouTube is not a silver bullet, and why it works in my particular case, it's not because uh, I'm kind of focused at making money, making more clients, and things like that. No, not at all. I'm focused on helping you guys, and the reason why I'm doing this, by helping you, I'm understanding myself better. I'm understanding my path better, and it allows me to grow personally, professionally, and that's the key gist basically. So without this, everything else wouldn't really make much sense. So, if you're really asking me for advices regarding how to make your YouTube channel, like, you just start for charity, and try not to rely on your YouTube channel as a source of getting you clients. And eventually, it might happen that your YouTube channel in particular would become a source of getting you clients. And like, in this particular case, I'm 100% following the old Chinese wisdom, like, the one who stands behind would be the man who would eventually find himself in front of whatever. So it's just abstracts. It's just abstract saying, but still. So in order to get in front of something, you need to put yourself behind. So in order to achieve the goal, you don't need to have that desire to achieve that goal. Like, it's absolutely on the contrary compared to the American principles, like, create the idea and then just use all your energy to get that idea, and then finally you get that idea. No, it's absolutely different. It's like, just try to become a good person, and everything else would flow naturally. So you don't really even have to think about this. So so if you really want some advices, you just try to start your YouTube channel not as a source of getting new clients, but as a source of self-development, as a source of self-exploration. So when you're doing something and you're getting feedbacks in return, it really helps you to understand your own self, to observe your own self, not like how you think how cool you are or things like that, but you can see a real picture of who you are, of your actual skills. And that's very important, to not to imagine something about your own self, but to get a clear picture of who you are on the real deal. That's very important. And like, try to help people, try to make something useful, and like, well, this is it basically. So the very last thing I could have mentioned, that actually I would say like 900% of my spare time is dedicated to answering your emails, making videos on your web scraping requests, trying to help you guys, trying to create new videos that would, again, like, would help you guys to understand some sort of a topics, would help you to start receiving some job offers, working on the real world projects, etc. So that's really the 900% of my spare time, and only 10% I can spend for, like, make some scraper for my client and getting paid. And that's why I have a very high rates, because like, if I work like only 10% of my time, I really need to charge my clients accordingly, and my clients know that yes, they are charged kind of maybe higher compared to some other freelancers. I don't know. So I used to take for about not less than $100 per scraper, but again, like, they understand that it's not like only for this scraper. It also includes some support. It also includes some maintenance and help, and unlimited revisions and things like that. So I'm really kind of responsible for this, and they really like this because they pay once and then they can rely on me, and just to make sure that the job would be done perfectly well and their systems would work appropriately, so they don't really need to be bothered about that ever. So clients are more likely to pay for not being bothered about this ever rather than the particular piece of code, because the particular piece of code is not really that valuable. And I would say that the particular solution is valuable, and a state of peaceful mind for a client where he's not where when he doesn't need to be bothered about the project is also very valuable, and that's the exact thing he's paying for, and that's why he pays maybe like kind of twice or three times or even three times more than he could have hired someone a developer who would be taking 2 times 3 times less money for exactly the same job. So those are my principles. So I prefer to take big money for my job, but it costs but at the same time, on one hand, it really costs that, because this responsibility and maintenance really costs that money, and on the other hand, this really allows me to have most of my time free, and I can spend the most of my time to help you guys. So I'm not sure if this kind of tips could be helpful for you guys, but still, I did promise to Andre, who's the author of this, again, like this particular email, I did promise him to share some thoughts at this point, and I hope this video would have served this purpose perfectly well. So thanks for watching, until the next time, and take care.